you see? I wasn't sure what he meant by that. So I looked around and I said, well, what do I see? I see the river, the trees, the bank, the rocks, the sky. And the guy said, no. What do you see underneath the water? Through the water, underneath it. Now, we were standing in the middle of the river. The water was maybe up to my waist. I kind of looked down into the water. But honestly, I couldn't see anything. I could just see the top of the water. I couldn't see through it because there was the time of the day, there was a glare coming down from the sun that caused so I couldn't see through the water. I could just see the top of the water. Now, my guide, he was wearing a pair of polarized sunglasses. He said, well, Stephen, I got these polarized sunglasses on, and with these glasses, I can see right through the water. And I can see everything. And do you know what he said? There are fish all around us. Everywhere you turn, there's fish, up and down this river at every point. In fact, right now, as we're speaking, there's fish right in front of us. Can you see them? You know, and I kind of sheepishly replied, nope. Can't see them, but I'll take your word for it. And he said, here, don't take my word for it. Put these on. So he handed me an extra pair of polarized sunglasses. And I put on the glasses. And the moment I put the glasses on, now I also could see through the water. And sure enough, just like the guide said, there were fish. They were everywhere. They were all around me. They were in fact, they were right there in front of me. Now, here's what was most interesting. Those fish were there all along. They were always there. I just couldn't see them until I put on the glasses. But the fact that I couldn't see them didn't mean that they weren't there. They were there. They were always there. But it just took me putting on the glasses to see, to recognize, to value what really was there. Well, so it is I maintain with this topic of trust. The effect of trust. The relevance of trust. The pervasiveness of trust. The impact of trust is there. Whether we can see it or not. And the fact that sometimes we don't see it, or maybe others don't see it, doesn't mean it's not there. It is there. It's always been there, but sometimes it just takes putting on the glasses to see it. So I have two goals this morning, two ends in mind. The first is I want to give us all a pair of glasses, trust glasses, metaphorically speaking, that we can put on and see this topic of trust with new eyes, see it in new ways, see it for what it really is, see how your business and your leadership is so based upon trust. And we've always at one level kind of known it, but often we don't see it. I want us to see it today, to put the glasses on. That's my first goal. Give you some glasses so you can see trust differently. My second goal is I'm going to give you some tools. And the tools will be in the form of these cards, which we'll get into in just a few minutes, so hold off on opening these yet. And these tools will enable you not just to see trust differently, but more importantly, to be able to act on it differently. They're going to give you a framework so you can think about trust consciously. And a language, a common language, so you can talk about trust. It's hard to talk about trust. I'm going to give you a language to do so. Most importantly, they're going to give you a process, a behavioral process for you to get really good at building trust, at creating trust, at turning trust and being trusted and extending trust into your greatest strength. As a leader, as a coach, for your team, for your business. The ability to create trust, okay? So those are the two goals. First, give you some glasses so you can see trust in a whole new way. And then more importantly, give you some tools so you can act on this and turn this into your greatest strength as a leader. So what do you think? If we can accomplish these two goals, is that going to be a useful investment of our time together? Are you with me? All right, great. So that's where we're going to go. Let's have some fun along the way as we get there. Let me acknowledge this. Whenever I tell people we're talking about trust, here's kind of the first thought that pops into someone's head. Someone says, Stephen, what are you going to talk about? And I say trust. And when I say trust, they're thinking this, or something just like that. So I go, okay, here's this warm and cuddly stuff, touchy soft, nice to have. But I want us to put the glasses on and see how trust is both social, yes, that's vital, and it's also financial, it's economic, it speeds up everything in relationships, on teams, when there's trust. Nothing is as fast as trust. So let's look at trust in a new way. But before we go into the new way of looking at trust, the new pair of glasses, let me show you a little funny video from one of our clients that shows you kind of the old school view of trust. This is kind of trust as soft, warm and cuddly, touchy-feely type of thing. So have some fun with this. I'm going to call this Welcome to the Trust Workshop. And don't worry, friends, we're not going to be doing this today. So have some fun. Take a look.
Do you trust your coworkers? Yes, you do. So just let go.
Oh,
okay,
no.
Is there such a thing as personal space? No, there isn't, because we're all molecules in the same organism.
I need an earlier flight out of Chicago. I feel like some of you don't respect me.
But because
Because of the hat. Just get me on the next flight out. We know why you fly.
Just made it.
We're American Airlines.
All right, well, hopefully you're not looking for the quickest escape from the Coronado this morning. See, the old school view of trust is just that it's soft, warm and fuzzy, just trust falls and the trust tower and the like. I want to give us a new pair of glasses, a new way of looking at this trust as being foundational to everything that you are as a person and that you're about as a leader. And for your business, for your team, for the culture that you're building and creating. And I'm going to frame this new way of looking at trust, this pair of glasses, if you will, around two main points. I'm going to call these 2 points two big ideas. And these two ideas are really the outline of my presentation. So let me state them up front, and I'll work through each one in greater detail. So here's the first big idea. The first big idea is that trust is the number one competency of leadership, and I might add, of coaching, needed today, more than any other. Why? Because it's the one thing that changes everything. So this is all about leadership. You're leaders in this room. I heard Carl describe you, leader with a capital L. You're leaders, as well as coaches. You're both. And you lead your team, you lead your business, you lead your community. I'm arguing of all the competencies to have, that trust is the number one competency for a leader. And I'll back that up as to why I say that. But in summary, though, the why is because it's the one thing that changes everything. That's the first big idea. I'm going to make the case for trust. The second big idea is this, is that trust is a learnable skill. It's a learnable skill, something we can get better at, something we can learn and do and create and grow and establish and expand, and in some cases, even restore when it's been lost. This is kind of where there's a paradigm shift, where many people think, hey, Stephen, you either have trust or you don't. It's either there or it's not. Well, I would say, no. That's your starting point. In the same way that you can diminish and lose trust through your behavior, you can also consciously, deliberately build it, grow it, expand it, extend it, even restore it through your behavior. And in fact, you can get good at this. And that's vital for all of us as leaders, as coaches, to get good at building trust on purpose. As you do that, you will build a better business. You'll be a better leader. You'll attract and retain people better. You'll engage them. You'll inspire them. People want to be trusted. To be trusted is the most inspiring form of human motivation. It brings out the best in people. You can do that. You do that as coaches and as leaders. Okay, so that's the path. I'm going to make a case for trust, show that it's the one thing that changes everything, why this matters, why we're doing it today, and most importantly, I'm going to give you some tools, how you build trust on purpose. Okay, but let's make this a little bit more personal to you. So everyone's got a piece of paper and pen in front of you. Let's do a little exercise together. I'd like you to identify a person that you work with and with whom you have a high trust relationship. So identify someone that you work with and you trust. You trust them, they trust you. So this could be one of your coaches. It could be one of your customers. It could be a peer. It could be someone at the company, at corporate. You decide. The only criteria here is that you need to work together as part of your job and you trust each other. Go ahead and write the person's name down and put their initials down. All right. With this person in mind, let me ask you a couple of questions. And as I ask you these questions, could you just capture, maybe jot down, the first impressions that pop into your head? First thoughts that come to you, just simple 1 or 2 word type answers. Don't overthink it. First thoughts, here we go. So what is it like to work with this person who you trust? What's it like to work with him or her? Go ahead and jot it down. And what's it like to communicate with this person? What does the communication look like? Capture that. And when there's trust, how fast can you get things done? And what kind of results are you able to achieve together? All right? Let me shift gears and have you identify a second person. So this time identify someone that you work with and that you need to work with as part of your world, part of your job as a coach, but in this case, with whom you have, for whatever reason, a low trust relationship. So you need to work together, but the trust is low. Or at least it's not where you want it to be, where you'd like it to be ideal. You know, again, it could be a fellow coach, one of your team members, it could be a customer, it could be a partner, a peer, it could be someone at work. You decide. The only criteria for this one is that you need to work together, but the trust is low, for whatever reason. All right? Now look, you don't necessarily need to write this person's name down really large on your paper there, but somehow identify a low trust relationship. Okay, so with this person in mind, let me ask you those same questions, and again, just capture the first impressions that pop into your head. So what's it like to work with this person who you don't trust? What's it like to work with him or her? Capture. And what's it like to communicate with this person? Capture that. How long does it take to get anything done? What kind of results are you able to achieve together or not? All right. So here's what I'd like you to do in just a moment. I'd like to invite you, if you'd be willing, to pair up with a learning partner where you're seated. 2 of you, maybe 3, whatever works for you, depending on where you're sitting. 2 or 3 of you to pair up. And don't worry, friends, you don't need to share the names of the people that you just wrote down. Just in case you end up pairing up with the very person whose name you wrote down, right? Of course, maybe on the high trust side, but just in case. Now seriously, our intent here is not to share names. Don't worry about sharing the names. But here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to simply describe the difference in these 2 relationships. Describe the difference in working with someone with whom there's high trust compared to working with someone with whom there is low trust. Okay? Just 90 seconds. It's very quick. Go ahead, pair up 2 or 3 of you. Describe the difference in the 2 relationships.
Trying to find the opposite of strengthening. Strengthening and empowering versus diminishing and weakening. That's what I think the greatest. I think the greatest differences are. Working with someone you trust versus someone that you don't trust.
Because, like I said, the flip side
come back if you could.
I also think it's like artificial versus natural.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now look, I like to begin with that very simple exercise. Because I think for most of us, it quickly makes a case for trust, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because this is not a small incremental difference, it's a huge difference. It's night and day difference. And we all know it because we've all been there. Look, that's just one relationship, or I guess two. Play that out now as a leader, as a coach, into multiple relationships. Play that out onto your team. Play that out into your broader community and with your challenge groups and with others. Play that out into the broader marketplace. Trust changes everything. And not in small incremental ways, but in profound ways. And in a very real sense, everyone in this room kind of intuitively knows this. Because your business is so much about building relationships. And the best kind of relationships are relationships of trust. They're different in kind from just transactional relationships. When people can trust each other. And when you do that on a team, when you do that as a leader, as a coach, and you bring other coaches into this, and there's a relationship of trust, it's a different quality of relationship. And the outcomes are also different. In fact, there's this great expression by Samuel Smiles, who put it this way. He said, the only relationships in this world that have ever been worthwhile and enduring have been those in which one person could trust another. And I would just qualify to say, perhaps not the only ones, but the best relationships are those in which people can trust each other. So if you can do that as a leader, as a coach, build relationships of trust, be trustworthy yourself, build a high trust culture on your team, in your community, what an advantage that would be, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Let me do one more thing. Let me briefly define trust, and then we'll dive into kind of why this matters so much. And after that, we'll get into the tools, give you a methodology to get good at building it. So here's a kind of a simple definition to think about trust. By trust, I simply mean confidence. Confidence. In fact, in many languages, trust and confidence are the exact same word. Like in Spanish, French, same word. In English, we have two words, trust, confidence. So it's a little bit opposite. The opposite of trust, distrust, is suspicion.
Yes.
See, I don't trust someone if I'm suspicious about their integrity or lack thereof. Or what if I'm suspicious about their agenda, that they're self-serving? Or what if I'm suspicious about their ability to deliver, to perform, to come through? So suspicion versus confidence. Now where does that confidence come from? I suggest it comes from two sources. It comes from having both character and competence. Character and competence, both are vital. If you have one but lack the other, you will not sustain the trust. I'll go deeper into that in just a few minutes. But you need both the character and the competence. The third part of the definition I want to briefly just mention is what I call smart trust. And smart trust is just saying, look, this is a third alternative between two extremes. So here's one extreme. One extreme we might call blind trust. Blind trust is naive trust. And that's characterized by the person that just kind of indiscriminately trusts anyone and everyone regardless. And that's not smart, not in today's world, because not everyone can be trusted. You can be too trusting in a low trust world and get burned. So I'm not advocating that extreme. That's blind trust. But let me go to the other side. The other extreme is what we might call distrust or suspicion. That's characterized by the person that doesn't trust anyone, or hardly anyone, because of the fact they can't trust some. They may be trusted, got burned, disappointed, let down along the way. They now swung the pendulum where they say, hey, I just don't trust anyone but myself, or maybe a very select few. You know the problem with that is that you're not going to inspire anyone that way. You're not going to engage with them. You can't collaborate with them if you don't trust each other. You can't partner. You can't team. It's trust that turns a group of people into a team. Trust is transformative. So neither extreme will work. You trust too much and you get burned. You don't trust enough. You won't inspire and engage. I'm saying the third alternative is smart trust, which means that you start with a propensity to trust. That flows from your heart. And though this group leads with your heart, that's a great place to lead. Start with your heart, the propensity, the bias of trust, and then balance it with your head so that you're smart about it, where you assess the situation, the risk, the credibility of people. But by starting with the heart first, you'll see possibilities you would never see otherwise. And you know what else you'll generate? You'll generate a great principle called the reciprocity of trust. Let me tell you a story to illustrate this. So a few years ago, I was working with an organization, had a lot of people. We were the top executive team. There were 23 people on this extended executive team, you call it. We got together with each of the executives in a private, one-on-one meeting. We had a picture of all 23 executives on a little card. So 23 pictures representing each person on the team. In these private meetings, we would tell the person, okay, look, here's you, here's your picture. Here's your 22 teammates, their pictures. Here's what we'd like you to do. Take these pictures representing your teammates and put people into one of two camps. I tend to trust this person, or I tend not to trust this person. So what might you imagine was the first question almost everybody asked? What do you think?
Are they going to find out?
That's right. Is anybody going to see this? No one will. Are you sure? Yes. Can you guarantee it? Yes. Once people were told this was anonymous, you'd be amazed at how simple this exercise was. They knew, with very few exceptions, maybe when someone was brand new. And for the most part, this team really trusted each other. So here's what it looked like when most of the executives went through. They take the pictures representing their teammates. Yep, I tend to trust this person. Tend to trust this person. Yep, tend to trust, tend to trust, tend to trust, tend to trust. Occasionally we'd hear, nope, don't trust.
Nope.
Trust, 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 trust. Don't trust. Trust, 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 trust. This one, I don't trust at all. But for the most part, they really trust each other. However, there were three of the leaders. Here's what it looked like when those three went through. It looked like this. No, don't trust. Don't trust. Don't trust this person. No, don't trust, don't trust, don't trust, can't trust, don't trust. Occasionally you might hear, nah, don't trust. Don't trust, don't trust, don't trust, don't trust. Honestly, they just didn't trust anyone. And yet the people who they didn't trust, they were the very same people everybody else did and could trust. Now here's what was most interesting. Those three leaders who didn't trust anyone, guess what? Nobody trusted them.
Yep.
Nobody trusted them. They were the three that showed up on everybody's do not trust list from a team of people that tended to trust each other. And here's the learning. And my friends, if you only take away one thing from my presentation today, I hope it will be this. If you, as a leader, want to be trusted, you've got to give trust.
Yes.
You've got to give it to get it. Why? Because there's a reciprocity of trust. And when you give it, people receive it and they return it. When you withhold it, they withhold it. So you've got to be trustworthy. We'll talk about that. But you also got to extend the trust. Both. Be trustworthy. I'm going to call that credibility. Extend the trust. Be smart about it. I'm not saying blind trust, a smart trust. But you will generate a reciprocity. And it'll, not only that, it will bring out the best in people. They'll be inspired by it. They'll rise to the occasion. They'll perform better. And that's a big part of what you do as coaches and as leaders. So there's a reciprocity. Here's how Lao Tzu defined this reciprocity. He put it this way. He that does not trust enough will not be trusted. No trust given, none received. Mistrust begets mistrust, whereas trust begets achievement. So when there's low trust, everything perpetuates in a vicious downward cycle. And it just continues. But when there's high trust, you create extraordinary confidence, inspiration, excitement, energy, joy, and possibilities. All right, so that's our definition. Trust is confidence that flows from character and confidence, and we're talking about a smart trust. With that, let me quickly go into the first big idea, and then we're going to dive into the second one, which is really the key tools to give you. So the first big idea is very simple. Trust is the number one competency of leadership needed today, the one thing that changes everything. And I want to describe this from a quantitative side and from a qualitative side. Let's take quantitative first. Trust always affects two outcomes. This is what I call the economics of trust. Trust affects these two outcomes always. It affects speed, the speed at which we can move, and it affects cost, the cost of everything. And here's a formula. It's very simple. When trust goes down in a relationship or with a coach, on a team, in a marketplace, when trust goes down, you will find that the speed goes down with it. Everything will take you longer to do, much, much longer, and the cost, it will go up. Everything will cost you more to do, much, much more. Why? Because you've got to take all these steps to compensate for that lack of trust. This, we might call it tax, a low trust tax. And the examples of the tax are all around us. Just reflect upon the low trust relationship. You identified a few minutes ago, the low trust one. My guess is it takes you longer, it costs you more. Think when, for whatever reason, there's low trust on a team, or low trust between teams, or low trust in any situation. It takes you longer, it costs you more. It is a tax, it's very real. Here's the good news. The dividend is equally real. And when the trust goes up in the relationship, when it goes up on your team, with your coaches, with your customers, in any environment, in your community, when the trust goes up, you'll find the speed goes up with it. Everything happens faster, so much faster, and the cost comes down. It costs you less, much less. This is a dividend, a high trust dividend. It is that simple, that real, that powerful, and it's playing out everywhere. You want examples of the dividend? They're all around us. Just reflect upon the high trust relationship. You identified a few minutes ago, the high trust one. My guess is you move fast, low cost. Think when you built high trust on your team, the speed at which you can move, high trust in your community. See, speed happens when people trust each other. Nothing is as fast as the speed of trust. Think of word of mouth marketing, which is still the speed of trust in action. It's your customers telling your prospects they should trust you. And when you get a referral from a customer or a coach, a customer that says, look, they're great, work with Susie, work with Ted. There's a transference of trust from your customer to their friends, who are your prospects. And the prospect becomes a new customer or coach faster and at less cost. Word of mouth marketing, speed of trust in action. Referral, speed of trust in action. Network marketing, speed of trust in action, done well. So this is a huge, huge accelerator of your business. It's a huge multiplier of your business. In fact, let me show you the data. It shows you the multiplier. The data is overwhelming. A Watson-White study shows this. High trust organizations outperform low trust organizations by 286%. 3 times higher. 3 times higher. So you want a multiplier in your business? Increase the trust. It's a 3 times multiplier, and there's overwhelming data that will show it time and time again. High trust is a multiplier. It is quantitative. It affects speed and cost. It's a huge advantage for your business, for your leadership, to operate with trust. There's economics to it. Now let me highlight the qualitative side of trust, because that matters enormously. And this is a big part of what you do as coaches and as leaders. In fact, here's the idea of coach as leader. Here's a great definition of leadership. You might say of coaching too. Leadership is communicating people's worth and potential so clearly that they're inspired to see it in themselves. Isn't that what you're doing as a coach? You're communicating people's potential, their worth, so clearly that they come to see it in themselves. You see it in them, they maybe don't, you do, and you communicate so they can see it and believe. I love how Sean T says it, trust and believe. You gotta believe, you gotta see it. And you extend that to them. That's leadership. That's great coaching. That's what you do. This is qualitative. I told you on the quantitative side that trust affects speed and cost. On this qualitative side, trust affects energy and joy. And here's the formula. When trust goes down in relationships or on the team, in the community, for whatever reason, when the trust goes down, you'll find that energy will go down with it, as will the joy. What's energy? Well, actual physical energy, that will go down. Nothing is as exhausting as low trust, but also emotional energy, that's passion, innovation, creativity, it all goes down. Commitment goes down. As will joy, happiness, satisfaction, fun. A lot less fun. Here's the good news. The converse is equally true. When the trust goes up in your relationships, when it goes up on your team, in your community, when the trust goes up, you'll find that energy in all its forms will go up with it. Creativity, innovation, passion, commitment, engagement of people, inspiration, all goes up with the trust. As will the joy, the happiness, the satisfaction, the fun. And this is a big part of who Beachbody is about. is, yes, you're helping people achieve their goals, and you're also helping them to lead, to enjoy, which is, joy, fulfilling lives, happy lives, energetic lives, healthy lives, energy and joy. To go along with speed and cost. Trust is qualitative. It is quantitative. It is the convergence of both. Trust is an idea whose time has come, especially in a low trust world. If you can be a leader that knows how to build trust, create it, what an advantage for you, for your team, and for Beachbody. Let's get good at this. That's the case of why this matters. You get good at trust, it will make you better at everything else you need to do as a leader and as a coach. That brings us to then the second big idea. Trust is learnable. It's learnable, it's a skill. So I'm going to show you I'm going to do a little fun exercise with you to show you how this is learnable. I'm going to do a numbers game here. There's 54 numbers on the screen. You're going to see them 1 to 54. They're all there. Here's your challenge. Count it up as high as you can go, starting with the number 1 and going to 2, 3, 4, 5, go in consecutive order as high as you can go. But here's the rule, you can't skip numbers. So if you're at 4 and you can't find 5, you're not allowed to go on to 6 and say, if I can find it, okay? You got to stay in consecutive order. Let me just acknowledge there will be a huge advantage for the people sitting at the front, because you're going to see this more clearly. But have some fun. Give it 30 seconds. Count as high up as you can go. On your mark, get set, go. Number 1 is the top left. More seconds. And stop.
Ooh.
Okay. How'd you do?
Well,
Did anyone get 10? 15? So somewhere between 10 and 15 is the high. Okay, was it hard?
yeah.
What made it hard?
They're all over the place.
Yeah, just kind of random, sporadic, hard to make sense of different sizes, shapes. What if, in fact, I were to show you that there was a framework to this, a way of making sense of this? Because there is. Let me show you. This is a numbers framework. There's 9 squares or boxes up there. The numbers are found in those boxes. So 1 is found in 1, 2 and 2,
okay.
3 and 3, 4 and 4, 5, 5, etc. 9 and 9, 10, we'll be back to 1. 11, 2, 12, 3. So I can go around 6 times. 9 times 6 is 54. In that consecutive order. Now that you know that, you think you can do better? Yep. All right, let's test it out. Count as high as you can go. On your mark, get set, go.
Wow.
More seconds. And stop.
36.
All right, the last time our high was about 10. How many got 10 or more this time? Look at that, almost every head in the room. How many did 2 or 3 or 4 times higher than last time? Look at that. So this was not incremental improvement, it was huge improvement, wasn't it? What changed? A framework. Once you understand a framework, you can make sense of it and get your arms around it. My friends, I'm going to give you a framework for trust. Because it's hard to get your arms around trust. That's ethereal. I'm going to make it tangible, practical. I'm going to give you a framework, a language, and a process to build trust on purpose. So that you as a leader, as a coach, can turn this into one of your greatest strengths. Is that you're trusted and you know how to build relationships of trust abundantly, naturally. And you watch what this does for your leadership, for your business. Okay, so can everyone take your deck of cards out? And the first card in the deck is entitled The 5 Ways of Trust. And this is our overarching framework. So this is the grand framework. The metaphor is the ripple effect. The drop of water comes down, the ripples, the waves move out. Where trust begins, where it all begins, is with ourselves. Self-trust. All trust starts with each of us. From there it ripples out, from ourselves into our relationships. You build that trust one-on-one, relationships of trust. From there it ripples out into your team. Organizational trust, we might call that. From there it ripples out into your broader community. We might call that market trust. That's here, it's your broader community. And from there it ripples out into all of society. Societal trust. Look at that. 5 waves of trust. And the best way to build that is to go inside out, starting with ourselves. Self-trust precedes relationship trust. Why? Think about it. If you don't trust yourself, how are you going to trust others? It's hard to sustain it. You've got to start with yourself, trusting ourselves. When we start there, then when we build that self-trust and we give to those that we lead, a leader that they can trust, it becomes more natural and abundant and easier to build this inside out instead of outside in. So that's how trust works. It's an inside-out process, building that self-trust in ourselves. And by the way, the best way I know to build self-trust is to learn to make and keep commitments to yourself. Think about it. The fastest way to build trust with somebody else is to make them a commitment to keep it. You do it again and again and again. That's also the fastest way to build trust with yourself. Make and keep commitments to yourself. But we got to go inside out. So that's the overarching framework. 5 ways we ripple out, but we start with ourselves. And then it naturally ripples out. Let me give you 2 sub-frameworks of how we build that trust from the inside out. And again, my goal is to make this practical, tangible for you as you walk out of today, so that you know as a coach and as a leader how to build trust on purpose. It's got to be inside out, starting with ourselves, so what do? Well, trust is a function of these 2 things. First, our credibility. Second, our behavior. Credibility and behavior. Let's take credibility first. Credibility is the foundation on which all trust is built. When someone comes up to me and says, Stephen, how do I grow trust? Where do I start? I say, always start with credibility. Your personal credibility as a coach, as a leader. You know, Beachbody's credibility as a company. Credibility is the foundation. Your team's credibility to the team that you built, the business you built. Credibility. Then we'll add to it behavior. So what's credibility? Let me give you one more metaphor, that of the tree. You got the roots and the trunk of the tree. So that's like character. It's vital by itself insufficient. Then you have the upper half of the tree, the branches and the fruits. That's like competence. Vital by itself insufficient, like a tree without roots. What we're looking for, of course, is that combination of both the character and the competence. When you have both character and competence, you can build trust fast on that. That's credibility. Well, there are what I call 4 cores or 4 dimensions of credibility. 2 of which belong to character, and 2 of which belong to competence. They just go deeper down into the character and competence idea, one level down to make it more practical. So let me introduce us to the 4 cores of credibility. Can you take your cards? There's 4 cards that are gold tipped right up front. These are our 4 cores of credibility. Let me briefly describe each one. So the first core is integrity. And integrity is like the roots of the tree. It's honesty, it's truthfulness, but it's more than that. It's congruence, meaning that we do what we say that we value. We walk the talk. It's doing the right thing. It's hard to do the right thing when there's a cost or a consequence. It's easy to do the right thing when it doesn't cost me anything. But the test of integrity is when there's a cost or a consequence. What do we do then? That's the test. Let me share a little tennis match that took place a couple months ago in Australia. Jack Sock, the American tennis player, is playing, and he's playing Leighton Hewitt from Australia. Sock is up 5-4. Hewitt serves the ball, is called out. But Jack Sock sees that the ball's not out, it's in. So now they have challenges, right? They have technology, but you're only allowed so many challenges. When Jack Sock sees that the ball is in, he tells his opponent across the way, hey, that was in, if you want to challenge it. He's telling him to challenge the call that it's really in. He's making a call against himself. So watch this. We got the video of this, and just watch the incredulity on his face. He's just incredible. Like, you're kidding me. You're telling me to do this. Watch the facial expressions. It's a lot of fun. As Jack's off, he's going to do the right thing, even if it costs him. He's going to do the right thing, because that's the kind of person that he is. Have some fun with this, and we can crank the sound up really loud on this one.
It was it? Challenges. We gave you the point anyway.
So yeah, he lost the match, but he won something far greater. Credibility, believability. He'll even make a call against himself, or at least he'll encourage his opponent to do it. That's integrity. That's the roots of the tree. It becomes your reputation, your brand that precedes you. So that's the roots. If that's the roots, then the second core is the trunk. I call it intent. And take a look at your intent card. I'll introduce these. It's your motive. The motive that best builds credibility and trust is when you care. When you care about the customers that you're serving and their results, their lives. The agenda that best builds credibility and trust is when you seek mutual benefit. You care about your coaches and their world, their lives, and their business too. Mutual benefit. That's called win-win. So caring is the motive. What I loved about the panel this morning was I heard Carl declare, as well as Michael and Jeff, that we want to kind of make sure that we are focused on the primary objective of our work, which is transforming lives, achieving results for our customers and for the coaches, because results matter. We care about them and their mission and their goals and their objectives, and that caring is important. I heard Carl declare his intent of saying, I want everyone here to be back here next year. So, repeat, elite. He's declaring it. But the focus on the customer and on the product and what's in the quality of what's inside the box, that shows the caring, the intent to help others succeed, to help customers succeed. That's exciting when you keep your focus there. And let me, so I'm going to highlight that one. Now let me go to the next one. Oops. I'm sorry, I accidentally clicked a button there. Okay, that was my fault, sorry. So, integrity and intent is the base of the tree, the character side. Capabilities and results is the competence. So look at this, capabilities. That's the third core. That's the branches of the tree. That's your talents and your skills and your expertise and your knowledge. The key question here is this: are you relevant? Are you relevant? Are you learning, growing, improving, getting better, staying relevant? If you are, you tend to be trusted. If you lose the relevancy, you could lose the trust. So companies recreate themselves, reinvent themselves. Look at how Beachbody has consistently innovated, created new offerings, both on the nutrition side and on the fitness side, to stay relevant. Look how you as coaches are getting better, staying relevant. We're doing vital behavior. Number 3 today, we're investing in ourselves to become better leaders, knowing how to build trust. That those branches produce the fruits. And the fourth core of credibility are those fruits. And it's what we might call our results, our performance, our current performance, our past performance. Why does that matter? Because people do project upon us future performance based on what they've seen. So when you go up to a prospect or to a potential customer and say, hey, this really works, if they see in you, look at you, like your vital behavior number 2, you're a walking billboard for the product's working. If they see other customers of yours and coaches of yours succeeding, that gives them confidence because they say results happen. That's part of your mission. We deliver results. So results matter in the building of trust. If you get results, people will trust you. If you don't, they won't. So trust is not just the integrity side, it's also your intent, your motive, it's your capabilities, staying relevant, and it's your track record of results. All these things Beachbody does well as a company. You've got a great track record that inspires hope and optimism and confidence from people. And you as elite coaches also got a very good track record. To get better at this, to turn this into your greatest strength is your opportunity. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to personalize this. Jeff Hill said, let's maybe take a gut check. I'd like to take a gut check on this question. If you take your 4 core cards out, integrity and intent flowing from your character, capabilities and results flowing from your competence. Thumb through these cards and ask yourself this question: how credible am I as a leader, as a coach? And maybe think about the people that you lead, the people that you serve. How would they describe your credibility in terms of your integrity? Do they see you as doing the right thing? In terms of your intent, do you care? They know that you care. You're seeking mutual benefit. Or they just see you as self-serving. In terms of your capabilities, they see you as current and relevant, learning, improving, getting better. And then your results, it's your track record that inspire your confidence. Are you that good model of what we're trying to do? Kind of reflect upon this. I'm having to start here with this gut check because human nature is that we look at everybody else. So many times I do a trust session and people say, Stephen, this is really interesting, this stuff on trust, but it's just too bad that the person who really needs to hear this today, my spouse or my boss, isn't here. And that might be true, but the best way we'll help them hear it is to model it. We had an executive team go through. They measured themselves on these 4 cores of credibility, and then they measured their fellow team members. Here's the cumulative roll-up of both columns. For themselves, 100%, 96, 91 on the 4 cores. So, I'm okay. Then they measured their fellow team members on the same measures, but you team member, you've got problems. 59, 56, 54, 63. But here's the problem with that. It's everybody else that needs to change. If you think that the problem is out there, everybody else, that very thinking is the problem because we've disempowered ourselves. And Beachbody is all about empowerment and taking responsibility, taking charge, and deciding and committing and succeeding. So this is where you start. So back to those 4 cores, thumb through those, and then here's what I invite you to do. First, identify a core that is a strength. Always start with strengths. The whole idea of strength finders, you start with your strength and you build from there. But then I invite you today to pick a core of credibility that you would like to get better at. That when you walk out of this elite mastermind session, you're going to focus on one of these to really improve, get better, move the needle on one of those to become more credible as a person, as a leader, as a coach. Okay, so identify a strength, pick one to get better at. Now here's the most important part of this, and you'll appreciate this because you understand community and group, challenge groups and accountability. I invite you to pair up with a partner where you're seated, two or 3 of you, and to share which one you're picking to work on to get better at. And we're all picking one, so this is not isolating any person. Everyone's picking one. Share which one you want to get better at, which one you're declaring your intent to get better at. Because if you do this, the probability of you actually applying this goes up. And you know this well from the work that you do with community and peer kind of accountability, how it really helps. So I'm going to give you just 2 or 3 minutes to pair up with a partner. You might share the strength and then share which one you want to work on and get better at, okay? So we got 3 minutes together to do that. So go ahead and pair up, Commissioner, please. Let's make this practical and real to each of us as leaders and as coaches.
Okay, I'm just going to look through these now.
What do you think you want to get better at? My intent is not being the right
Okay. I clearly know which one I want to improve on.
integrity is part of my strength. But my
I think that my strength is capabilities. So I think that reevaluating our intent is necessary based off of taking into account our journey as challenger to coach to visionary to, and I think that what has happened is we've been so focused on the intent of we're going to get these because that's what we were focused on. But like I know that for me, when I was writing down like the fact that it's about the health and the joy and the progress and the results of not just that person's business, but their life. Their life. I know. Like and even though that things are that's okay. And so
Let us come back together. Let's come back together. Now look, I know that was barely enough time just to get started. So I invite you to go deeper with this. Focus on increasing your credibility as a coach. Because the more credible you are, the better and the faster you'll build trust. And with trust, you'll do everything else better. You'll build your business better and faster. Credibility is where it begins. So I invite you to, with your coach or coaches, do a Zoom call.
yeah.
And be accountable to each other on what you're working on. I'm going to have you do this one more time with behavior. But you can all pick one core to get better at. Our goal here is very much that vital behavior number 3 of investing in ourselves and our personal development, getting better. Credibility is where you begin. But there's one other key piece let's go into now, and that piece is behavior. Behavior is what we do and how we do it. There's hundreds of behaviors that are out there. From the hundreds, we've identified the highest leverage behaviors that help us grow trust. From the hundreds, there are 13 behaviors that will build trust faster for any leader or coach, or they'll destroy it faster for any leader or coach. Even culled down from the hundreds, 13 is a lot. So here's where our cards will be really useful as a takeaway as you walk into today. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to briefly mention all 13. I'll highlight just a couple. But as I go through these, they're kind of intuitive. You'll get them instantly. What I want you to do is be thinking about this. I'm going to have you pick 2 from the 13 to really focus on. I'll have you pair back up with your partner, and then you'll walk out with an action plan of 1 core of credibility to go along with 2 behaviors. A 3-point plan to focus on your increasing trust as a leader and as a coach. Okay? So you can take the cards now. These are the blue cards. And just follow along. Again, I'll briefly mention all of them and highlight a couple. So the first behavior flows from our character. Talk straight. Demonstrate respect. Create transparency, openness, light. See, by the way, demonstrate respect. How you treat the one has an effect on the many. When you show great respect to maybe one of your coaches, the others see it and notice it too. Create transparency, light, openness, right, wrong. If you make a mistake, you're right or wrong. Show loyalty. You know what show loyalty means? It means you give credit to others. So I love their vital behavior number 4, recognition, celebrating successes, giving credit, acknowledging people, highlighting their success stories. That's being loyal to them and giving them the credit as opposed to you taking it. Look at those. They flow heavily from your character. Look at the first one. Let me just illustrate how these cards can be useful to you. So take the talk straight. It means we tell the truth. We call things what they are. We use simple language. Candor is the language of trust. And look at the opposite on the bottom of the card. The opposite is when we lie. And lying destroys trust. We learned this in kindergarten, right? You tell the truth, you build trust, and lie, and destroy it. What makes this hard? Well, what makes that hard is what I call a counterfeit behavior. Look at the back of the card on the bottom. There's the counterfeit. The counterfeit behavior, like counterfeit money, it looks real, but it's not. So the counterfeit behavior, to talk you straight, is when everybody is spinning. The spin everywhere. The exaggeration, the positioning, the posturing, the technically telling the truth, but leaving the wrong impression. See, your truth is enough, so be honest. Talk straight to people. They know they can trust you. Obviously, if you lie, you won't have any trust, but what's maybe even more dangerous, because it's acceptable, is the spin. But if you get a reputation as, take everything that he says or she says and divide it in 2, because you're spinning everything, exaggerating, then people don't trust you fully. So be straightforward, open, transparent, authentic, real. Talk straight. You'll be amazed how this does that. Okay, so as you go through the 13 behaviors, here's what you're going to notice. The behavior is straightforward. If you tell the truth, you'll build trust. The opposite is equally straightforward. If you lie, you'll destroy it. What makes this hard is the counterfeit behavior, the spin, the twisting. That works. It's socially acceptable, but it comes at a price. Trust goes down. So I'm going to show you a little funny video. This is from the movie Shrek the Third. I figured you'd all seen this. The new king comes in. He's looking for Shrek, all these characters. You know where Shrek is. Nobody wants to tell the guy. So he goes up to Pinocchio. And why does he pick Pinocchio? Because he can't lie, right? If he does lie, his nose is going to grow. So watch Pinocchio spin this. He'll spin it such that he technically tells the truth, and therefore his nose doesn't grow, but he completely leaves the wrong impression. So have some fun with this one.
Where are Shrek and Fiona?
That doesn't ring a bell. Yeah, no bell.
No.
I suggest you freaks cooperate with the new king of far, far
The
away.
only thing you're ever going to be king of is king of stupid.
You! You can't lie. So tell me, puppet, where is Shrek?
I don't know where he's not.
You're telling me you don't know where Shrek is?
It would be inaccurate to assume that I couldn't exactly not say that his or his mom was partially incorrect.
So you do know where he is?
On the contrary, I possibly more or less not definitely rejected the idea that in no way, with any amount of uncertainty, that I undeniably
Stop it.
do or do not know where he should probably be, if that indeed wasn't where he isn't.
Hey, have you ever sat in a meeting like that before? Where the spin is going on all around us? Well, that's our challenge. So the behavior is straightforward, the opposite equally straightforward is the counterfeit that trips us up. By the way, you can see on the back of your card what to say. It gives you ideas how to do it. I invite you to go deep with these cards. They're really useful tools to build and to apply it, to model these behaviors that will help you as a leader build trust. By the way, each behavior is based upon a principle. The principle behind Talk Straight is truth. I'm trying to convey truth. But how I would apply that might look different in different situations, different cultures in conveying truth. For instance, Talk Straight in the Netherlands might look different than Talk Straight in Japan. The Dutch are notorious straight talkers. There's an expression that goes, nothing offends the Dutch. Whereas in Japan, you can be more nuanced. So I was in the Netherlands a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago. I saw this sign. And the sign said at a park, "Welcome to Amsterdam. When it's hot, please dress for the body you have, not the body you want." Not the beach body, unless you're ready for it, okay?
Unless you got it.
All right. Let's look at the next slide. The next slide flows heavily out of our competence. So follow along with your cards. So number 6, these are competence behaviors. Number 6, deliver results. That's what you're about. This is the behavior that builds the core of credibility, called results. Number 7, get better, meaning continuously improve. What we're doing today. Number 8, confront reality. Take things head on, even tough things. That's what you do in the work that you're helping your customers confront reality in their situation and how to transform their lives. Look at number 9, clarify expectations. Number 10, practice accountability. Let me highlight that expectations one. Just take a look at this. It means we're deliberate, we're explicit, we're two-way. This is important as you bring people into your business and their coaches. You're trying to clarify expectations with each other because clarity is power. The opposite is when you just assume they're, actually the opposite is when you leave them undefined, the expectations, or ill-defined. And the counterfeit is when you assume and guess expectations. But our role, no guessing. Don't people guess what's expected of them. Be deliberate, be explicit, clarify. Watch this little vignette. These folks, they think they're on the same page, but they're not. Take a look.
Close your eyes and just calm down.
Okay, then Lauren's going to catch you. Okay, it's called the trust fall. Okay, trust fall. Ready, set, go.
Oh my goodness.
Oops. So don't assume.
Don't assume.
Don't guess. Be deliberate, clarify. That's a counterfeit. I'll give you another counterfeit of this behavior. It's when people experience the same thing, but they interpret it completely differently. But they often don't stop, pause, clarify, and get on the same page. And what might have started up front as just a small gap in expectations, if you don't clarify over time, can turn into a major trust issue. So watch this little vignette. This is called the fly. These folks, they experience the same thing, but they interpret it completely differently. Have some fun with this one.
This has a fashion for the doing well, so I can be able to go on tomorrow.
Daddy's gonna be so excited.
That killed him.
All right. Well, thankfully, in that case, they could quickly clarify, right? There's no harm. But too often, the equivalent of that happens where people experience the same thing, they interpret it completely differently, they don't stop, they don't pause, they don't clarify, and those small expectations gaps later, over time, turn into major trust issues. So be deliberate, be explicit, clarify. Clarity is power for you as a leader and as a coach. Okay, let's look at the last three. The last three flow from both our character and our competence in equal amounts. So listen first. Keep commitments. Extend trust. Each of these is so important, and I just highlight each one. Look at number 11. Listen first. This is the essence of what you do as a coach. You listen first. You diagnose before you prescribe. You listen and understand first before you try to present a solution, because this will really help people. The opposite is when you don't listen. The counterfeit is when you listen, but you don't understand. Look at the next one, number 12. Keep commitments. You make a commitment, you keep it. Make another commitment, you keep it. I said it's the fastest way to build trust. Well, the opposite is when you make a commitment and break it, and that's the fastest way to lose trust. And the counterfeit is when you overpromise and then underdeliver. So your grandiose promise gets you the deal, but then you only partly deliver on it. The next time you make the promise, people don't fully believe you. So this is, again, a powerful one. Make and keep commitments. Repeat that process. Make, keep, repeat. Make, keep, repeat. You'll build trust and build it exceptionally fast that way. And that, to me, make, keep, repeat, sounds a lot like
Repeat,
decide, commit, succeed.
Yep.
It's a virtuous upward cycle that builds trust, including self-trust, as well as trust with others. Finally, the last one, number 13, extend trust. We're back to where we started. You want to build trust? Be trustworthy, and then give trust. Extend it. Because of what it does to people, it inspires them, and they reciprocate it back to you. The opposite is when you withhold it. And the counterfeit is when it's a fake trust. You tell them you trust them, but your behavior says, I don't trust you at all. Let me show you one last little video. This is called, Does Eddie Trust Tanya? So watch Eddie and his gal Tanya. Eddie starts out not with trust. He's got the glasses of suspicion on. The glasses of suspicion. Watch how that flavors his interpretation of everything around him. Have some fun with this one. Let's take a look. Here's the point. Our starting point matters. Start with trust until proven otherwise. It's a better starting point for you as a leader, for you as a coach. It's a better starting point in your relationship. Start with trust until proven otherwise. As a leader, clearly a better starting point. People will rise to the occasion. They'll rise to the trust that they're given. They'll inspire them. They'll bring out the best in them. To be trusted is the most inspiring form of human motivation. So extend trust by the behavior. Okay, so look at the 13. Put them in your hands. I invite you. All 13 are important, but it's hard to do 13 things at once. I invite you as you walk out today to work on 2 of these in particular. You're going to give extra careful attention and focus to. Pick 2. And some that you pick. Maybe one of them is a weakness. You're not very good at it. Maybe one's a strength. You're good at it, but you're not good enough at it. You decide. Whatever you feel compelled. Pick 2. And then pair back up with your learning partner, with your coach here. And share which 2 you picked and briefly tell them why you picked those 2. Okay, declare your intent. Then I got one last little video to close our session. Okay, so go ahead and pair up. 3 minutes with your partner. Share which 2, why you picked those 2.
Oh, what's this? Oh, I thought he was showing us something. Oh, okay. So,
Did you do better on presentation? I don't know. There's too many to look at. I get better with what I do well. 2 areas to work on. I think that I need to probably talk straight to some people. No. And I also think that I need to clarify expectations better. And I think I need to extend trust because honestly, I mean, I've kind of become a skeptic in certain capacities as far as working with some people. Yeah. Like I've lost trust because their actions aren't in line with certain. I mean, those are the 3 that come to my mind right now. So I need to work on talking straight. I've gotten better at it. Well, I don't know. And I feel like I need to look. These are the first that pop out right now. But I just based off of not looking at their actual description, going off of talk straight. I think you do a very good job of talking straight. I really do. And I think you do a very good job of clarifying expectations. I do. So I think those are what I see as your strengths. Yeah. Oh, I also need to listen first. Okay. I know. I just feel. You tell me what you think. Your strengths, or not strengths. Your I'm gonna do a top 4. Listen first. I don't listen to people that much, or as much as I should. I definitely what was the other one I said?
So it's like those.
Talk straight. Oh, clarify expectations. Listen. Oh, extend trust.
This one is because
Those are the 4 I want to work on. I need to look more about what they need. I think extending trust can get longer. And I don't, honestly, I feel like I feel all of it. All of it. I definitely need a commitment. I think I can listen better. I think extending trust means like I can help other people trust themselves better.
All right, friends. Let's come back together. So, I invite you to take the 2 behaviors you picked to work on and get better at, add to it the core of credibility that you picked to work on and get better at, and put this together and see this as your personal leadership action plan as you walk out of today.
He's so cute. I love him.
So rather than being overwhelmed, with 5 waves of trust, 4 cores of credibility, 13 behaviors, that's a lot of framework. Here's a 3-step process. Test this, try this, start with this. Have a Zoom call, be accountable to each other on this. Watch what happens. You can get good at trust on purpose. Trust does not have to be mystical, ethereal, intangible. No, it's quite simple. It's about credibility and behavior. Here's 4 cores of credibility. Here's 13 high leverage behaviors. You do these things, you'll behave in ways, you'll move the needle on trust. It will follow. I'll conclude with this little video. This is a coach. He's a natural basketball coach. His name is Jim Johnson. Watch him choose to extend trust to someone who's not even on the team. He chooses to trust him. Watch what happens here. Now look, this has got a wonderful ending. It doesn't always work out this way. I know that. You know that too. But you know what? Sometimes it does. Sometimes you have to take the chance in order for it to happen. So watch this extension of trust from a coach to someone on his team. And look at the impact the possibilities.
Most basketball teams aren't known for their team managers, but most teams don't have Jason McElway. Jason was a special ed student at Greece Athena High. His nickname is J-Mac.
When I got into high school, my goal was to make the team, and I wasn't good enough.
Born with autism, for 3 years, Jason's job was to assist the coach and do whatever the team needed. He made sure everyone had water and towed off players' sweat during the game. And of course, he always cheered loudly for the team he cared so much about. Jason tried out 3 years in a row, but never made the team. Because of Jason's devotion, the coach decided to let him suit up for the final game of the season. Not to play necessarily, but just to see what it was like to wear a jersey.
What added to it was the fact that if we won that game, we could tie for the league championship. But I couldn't promise you could get in the game, although I really wanted to play.
With 4:19 to go, Coach Johnson pointed to number 52. After all those years of wishing and watching, Jason was in the game. His first opportunity was a 20-footer from the right baseline. His second chance comes when he gets the ball at the top of the key and misses.
And I thought, please, can you just make a shot?
But the third time's the charm.
What happened next, I'd never witnessed before in my 25 years in coaching.
With his teammates giving him the ball at every opportunity, Jason shot. And shot. And shot. 3-pointer after 3-pointer. And with each bucket, the crowd and his team went a little crazy. With just about 3 seconds to go, Jason stops 3 feet behind the arc.
I think to myself, Jason, don't shoot from there, it's too far.
He lets it go anyway. He beats the buzzer and creates pure pandemonium. In the space of just 4 minutes, Jason scored 20 points, making him the highest scoring player in the game. Because he is autistic, Jason had always felt different, but never this different. Never this incredible. Since that time, Jason has continued to work with Jim Johnson, but he has a new nickname, Coach J-Mac.
Being given a chance is unbelievable. Being given a chance changed my life.
When we extend trust to another, we are giving them a chance. And we can not only change their life, but we'll change our own as well as we do it. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you.